Okay, so in this video, I'm going to cover a little bit more of the Gertie ball work and taking that into bridge pose and then getting onto our feet and working with standing forward bend. And then finally, we'll come into warrior two pose. So you'll need a Gertie ball and a chair today. You're going to come onto your back with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Before you begin, just allow yourself to arrive and settle here onto your mat in your body, connecting to the rhythm of your breath, and as best as you can to let your body settle, feeling the soles of the feet on the ground, the back of your skull, the shoulders settling. And when you're ready to begin, right, find the four corners of your feet, so the mounds of the big toes, the baby toes, the inner heels, the outer heels, and see if you can keep your feet somewhat parallel. And from there, press into the ground through the soles of the feet to lift the pelvis up and tucking the ball right underneath the pelvis where your sacrum is. And then pausing here a moment, again, feeling the weight of the pelvis resting into the ball. So we're just going to take a few minutes here to free up the pelvis from the legs. Right? There's a lot of muscle attaching and connective tissue attaching the legs to the pelvis. So these movements on the ball will help to free up some tension, some tightness in those areas. So the first move we're going to do is tucking the pelvis under, coming into this posterior tilt where the tailbone lifts up and the back of the waist flattens into the ground. And then tipping the pelvis forward, dropping the tailbone towards the ground, the back of the waist lifting. And to exhale as you tuck under, breath goes out. And inhale as you tip forward, breath coming in, breath going out as you tuck under, relaxing the shoulders if you can, letting the weight of your head be supported here by the ground. After a few of those, let's come into the next movement, which is turning the pelvis across the ball side to side. So this one is turning the pelvis. One hip will lift a little as the other hip drops. And the rib cage, the shoulders resting as the pelvis turns side to side. And do the best you can to keep your knees looking up towards the ceiling, so they're not swishing side to side with this movement. And what you'll find here is some rotation happening. As the upper body stays quite steady, the lower half of the body rotating, turning side to side, which is an action that we will come to in warrior two pose. So let's bring the pelvis now back to center, settle again, let the weight drop down, letting go of any gripping. And then this next movement is sliding the pelvis side to side. So keeping the pelvis level to the floor, and the movement is horizontal. So in this case, the hips are staying the same distance away from the floor. And you can take your hips as far over to the side as they will go, which will give you a stretch through the side, and you'll also feel some work happening through the opposite hip. So I like to think of this movement like how a snake moves along the ground, right? That kind of, is it oscillating movement? I'm not sure, but I think you get the picture. Okay, come back to center. Now, we're going to bring the feet just a little closer in towards the buttocks so that your shins feel more vertical. Go ahead and feel again the four corners of your feet pressing into the ground. Press them into the ground strongly enough to lift the whole pelvis up and away off the ball again. Let's take the ball out from underneath and pause here in this pose. This is called bridge pose, where the pelvis is lifting by pressing the feet into the ground. Your face is still looking up towards the ceiling, shoulders broad, shoulders resting back. And we'll come down all the way to the floor. On an exhale, lower. Feel the back of the pelvis touch the ground. And when it's completely landed, just take a breath or two here, letting the body land. And we're going to come up again with a few more instructions. Finding the four corners of the feet. Yeah. Shins are vertical, shoulders nice and broad, face looking towards the ceiling. On an exhalation, we're going to press the feet into the ground, push the feet down to lift the pelvis. And now think about the thighs. Think about these strong thighs reaching away from you, right? It's like you could come up to stand on your feet from here. So there's this energy of drawing away and down, right? Away and down to draw your bridge up. And the shoulders drop down, the head stays heavy, the arms resting at your sides. Breathe here, feeling the strength here of the buttocks, hamstrings, so the back of the body strong to lift the front of the body. Noticing if you've rolled into the outer edges of your feet, right, which will cause the legs to splay a little. Can you come back into the inner edges of your feet, the mounds of the big toes and the inner heels, and let the thighs slightly turn in towards each other, a little internal rotation to keep the thighs parallel. Let's exhale again and come all the way down. Okay, we'll come up one more time. First, just resting the weight of the pelvis down. Just take in any information here from what we've done already. And when it's time, go ahead, press the feet down into the ground, lift the pelvis, feel how this is like a bridge that you're assembling from the strong foundation of the feet pressing down and the strong musculature at the back of the body here, keeping your bridge suspended. Thighs reaching away from you, parallel, reaching out of the pelvis. Tailbone is also reaching out and beyond the space between the knees. This is a wonderful pose to stretch and open the front body, right? Chest, belly, front of the lungs, while feeling the strength and support through the back of the body. Okay, go ahead, exhale, and we will release all the way down. From here, taking the knees in towards you and coming into child's pose, a little rocking side to side. So next on the list is the standing forward bend. So roll to one side, mm, roll to one side, use your arms to press yourself up, right? Then coming around to table position, tuck the toes under, walk your hands back towards your knees, roll into the legs and the feet, press into the feet to come to standing. And then you're going to draw your chair onto your mat, so you've got that here. And stand in front of your chair, about a leg's distance away. Finding mountain pose, right? Four corners of the feet, reaching into the ground. The pelvis is back over the heels. Rib cage is back over the pelvis. Shoulders in line with the outer hips and ankles. We're going to inhale, sweep the arms up and up. Exhale, fold forward at the hips. Come down and place your hands onto the chair. So this is standing forward fold or standing table position. And in table, we want the spine to be nice and long in a neutral position. So there's reaching forward out through the top of the head, reaching back through the tailbone. And we're going to come up from here, bend the knees slightly, inhale, reach the arms out to the sides as we come all the way up. See how the torso stays nice and long? I'm not rounding my back as I come up. Palms together overhead. Exhale, palms in front of the heart. Let's do that again. Inhale, sweep up. Exhale, arms reach out to the sides. Stay anchored in the feet and legs. Palms come to the chair. You can bend your knees a little bit so that when you bend your knees, it'll be easier for you to tip the pelvis up towards the ceiling. If the legs are straight, this might happen, rounding the back. If I straighten my legs, good chance you're going to pull your pelvis under, and then I'm here. And in this pose, what I'd like is for the spine to elongate, right? We want to create some space between the vertebrae and regain the length of our spine. We want to decompress, okay? Inhale, arms out to the sides. We come all the way up, lengthening up, palms together overhead. Exhale, palms in front of the heart. You could do a few more of those if you've got time. And the next pose we're going to do is Warrior Two. So what we just did in bridge pose is we've opened up the hip flexors. In standing forward bend, we stretched the hamstrings, we've lengthened the spine. The ball work that we did helped to get the pelvis moving side to side. So all of that comes into this pose. All those components come into this pose, Warrior Two. So we're going to come into it from mountain pose, stepping the right foot forward and angling the left foot out a little bit. Don't want to turn it all the way. It's not that full 90 degrees. It's about 45 degrees. And then have a look at your legs and your feet. You want your right foot to be to the right side of the mat, the left foot to the left side. So if I drew a line down the center of my mat, one foot would be on one side, the back foot on the other side. And then I'm going to bend that front knee and bring that front shin vertical. Yeah. Front knee is bent over the front ankle. Yeah, can you find the four corners of your feet again? So you haven't spilled into your arches, nor have you rolled onto the outer edges. Even distribution of weight through the four corners of the feet. Front knee stays over the ankle, not shooting past. So you want your shin vertical, the back leg is straight. The angle of your pelvis, you can think of the face of your pelvis is turn towards the left corner of your mat. I've got my right foot forward, so the pelvis is turned towards the left corner of my mat, and I'm going to leave it there. Leave the pelvis and the legs as they are. Lengthen the spine, and now I'm turning the ribs and the chest towards the long edge of the mat, right? So I was here, and now I'm rotating the ribs and the chest towards the long edge of the mat, and the arms float up. Palms down, reaching out from your heart center. So there's lots of energy, like wings reaching out as the legs keep you nice and grounded and stable. And then your head, you can go ahead and look forward or look back. Great, let the arms rest down. Straighten the front leg. Step your feet together. Come back into mountain pose and pause. We come into mountain pose to integrate, to notice, to feel how that pose had any effect, right, on the body, on the nervous system, the mind, and the heart. And then I'll leave you to do the other side on your own. And I hope that was helpful. Have a great day.